This presentation is merely a brief overview of the topics covered in the chapter and should not be considered a substitute for reading the chapter. This chapter covers the micro and macro factors that affect personal financial planning, the financial planning process, and financial planning professionals. Micro factors are related to the individual. For example, what is their family situation? What is their health status? What career have they chosen? What age are they? Here we see some examples of how micro factors influence financial planning. An individual with a partner or children needs to consider them when they build their plan. When considering health, unfortunately, many people do not consider the possibility of losing income due to long-term disability caused by accident or illness. Of course, your career choice impacts your plan. Surgeons average nearly $400,000 per year in income, so they have an opportunity to have larger expenses and savings than people who choose many other careers. And life stage must be considered when creating a financial plan. Someone in their late teens may need to put a great deal of time and effort into considering career choice, while someone approaching retirement need not be concerned with career choice, but instead should be focused on investment returns for retirement. Macro factors are not individually focused, but instead focus on the wider economy and the markets that make up the economy. There are 4 key macro factors that must be considered when creating a financial plan: the stage of the business cycle, the employment situation, economic indicators, and currency stability. Let's look at an example of how the business cycle can impact financial planning. When gross domestic product contracts for 2 consecutive quarters, we experience a recession. During periods of economic contraction like recessions, we typically see unemployment increase. People who have jobs become nervous about losing them, and people who have lost jobs often find it difficult to find new ones. Consumer spending almost always decreases in contractionary periods. These are all macro factors that can affect one's financial planning. Another macro factor that affects financial planning is currency stability. Typically, prices increase slightly over time. We call this increase in prices over time inflation. If the money you have to spend is a fixed amount, but prices increase 5% this year, you will not be able to buy as much as you were able to buy last year. This can have a big impact on your financial planning. This chart shows annual inflation rates from 1970 through 2010. As you can see, for most of that time, inflation has been fairly mild, but it has been over 5% several years. The financial planning process has 5 steps. Step 1, set your financial goals. Step 2, assess your current situation. Step 3, define your options for reaching your goals. Step 4, pick the best option and put it into practice. And step 5, assess the results regularly to see if you are on target to hit your goals. A typical individual might have a short-term goal of reducing his or her debt, an intermediate goal of buying a house, and a long-term goal of a comfortable retirement. Ideally, when we assess our current situation, we examine personal financial statements. We will cover financial statements later. For now, we can informally examine our income, expenses, debt, and saving potential. When defining and examining your options, it is important to identify the benefits and costs of each option. Getting a second job may help you reduce your debt more quickly, but it will also cut into your free time. Gambling in Vegas might allow us to eliminate our debt in a single day, but it would also have the explicit cost of airfare and a hotel stay, and the possible implicit cost of increasing our debt. This individual chose to get a second job to reduce his or her debt more quickly. After the debt is gone, if the individual takes the money they were paying on the debt and puts it into savings, they aren't likely to miss it, and they will be creating a surplus. With all plans, it is important to assess the results. Did you reach your short-term goals? Were you able to pay off your debt? If so, great. Set some new short-term goals. If not, start the planning process over and get back to work on reaching your original goals. When examining the various certifications of financial professionals, it can be easy to get confused and see it all as a jumble of alphabet soup. One type of financial professional that can be very helpful to you in all phases of the financial planning process is the CFP, or Certified Financial Planner. Anytime you choose to use the services of a financial planner, be sure that you know how that person is compensated. How they are compensated may affect the advice they give you. You should know up front whether your financial planner receives a flat fee, a percentage, or a commission, or perhaps some combination of these three. That is the end of this presentation. I hope you enjoy reading this chapter.